You earned $50,000 last year. This year you got a 5% raise to $52,500. Your boss congratulated you. You felt good about the promotion. But when you go to the grocery store, your cart costs $280 instead of $200. Your rent increased from $1,500 to $1,700 per month. Your car insurance jumped 30%. Your utility bills are up 40%. Gasoline costs 60% more than 2 years ago. You're making more money than ever before, but you can afford less than you could 3 years ago. Your raise wasn't a raise at all. It was a pay cut disguised as a promotion. And you're getting poorer every single month while thinking you're doing better. This is the inflation trap destroying the middle class right now in 2025. Official inflation rates claim prices rose only 4% this year, but that number is a lie carefully constructed to hide the truth. The real inflation you experience at the grocery store, at the gas pump, and when paying rent is running between 15 and 25%, depending on where you live and what you buy. The government uses statistical tricks to make inflation seem lower than it really is. They substitute cheaper products into the calculation when prices rise. They use hedonic adjustments claiming your phone is better, so higher prices don't count as inflation. They exclude food and energy, calling it core inflation. When those are the things you buy most often, the result is your lived experience does not match the official numbers, and you feel crazy because everyone says inflation is under control while you're drowning. Leave a comment below telling us where you're from and what you're seeing with prices in your area. How much did your grocery bill increase in the last year? Also hit that subscribe button, because what I'm about to reveal will show you exactly how inflation destroys your life and why it's going to get much worse before it gets better. Let me walk you through the mechanics of how this silent theft works. Inflation is a hidden tax on everyone who holds dollars. When the government prints money to pay its debts or fund programs, the total money supply increases, but the amount of goods and services in the economy stays roughly the same. More dollars chasing the same amount of stuff means each dollar buys less. Your $50,000 salary is the same number of dollars, but those dollars have less purchasing power. You didn't get poor in dollar terms, you got poor in real terms. What matters isn't how many dollars you have, but what those dollars can buy, and they buy less every single month. Wages never keep up with real inflation. Companies base raises on official inflation numbers of 4%, but your actual cost of living is rising 15%. You get a 4% raise while your expenses increase 15%. You lose 11% of your purchasing power every year. After 5 years of this, you're making 20% more in dollar terms. But you can afford 30% less in real terms. This is why people feel poorer despite earning more, why families that used to save now live paycheck to paycheck, why the middle class is disappearing into the lower class. The inflation lag destroys you. Slowly, rent increases happen once per year when your lease renews, but grocery prices increase every week. By the time your salary adjusts 6 months later, prices are already 15% higher than when you got the raise. You're always behind, always catching up, never getting ahead. Your employer bases your raise on last year's official inflation, not next year's real inflation. The result is a permanent erosion of your standard of living, happening so gradually you don't realize you're being destroyed until you look back 5 years and realize you could afford so much more back then. Fixed income. People get annihilated. Retirees on Social Security get cost of living adjustments based on official inflation. Official inflation says 4%, so their checks increase 4%. But their real expenses increase 20%. Their buying power drops 16% in 1 year. In 5 years, they've lost half their purchasing power. They worked 40 years, paid into the system, and inflation destroyed their retirement. This is happening to 30 million retirees right now. They can't go back to work. They can't earn more income. They just get poorer every month until they die. Asset inflation benefits the rich, while wage inflation crushes the poor. When money printing causes inflation, it flows first into assets. Stocks rise. Real estate appreciates. The wealthy who own assets get richer. The money takes months or years to flow into wages. By the time workers get raises, the cost of housing already doubled. Someone who owned a house 3 years ago is now wealthy from appreciation. Someone trying to buy a house now can't afford it, even with higher wages. Inflation redistributes wealth from workers to asset owners, from young to old, from poor to rich. It's the greatest wealth transfer in history, happening invisibly through monetary policy. The government loves inflation because it reduces the real value of government debt. America owes $34 trillion. If inflation runs at 10% for 5 years, the real value of that debt drops by 40%. The government borrowed dollars when they were worth more and pays them back with dollars worth less. Inflation is debt default by another name. But workers can't inflate away their debts. Your mortgage stays the same in dollar terms while your income loses purchasing power. Only the government and the rich benefit from inflation. Everyone else gets destroyed. If this video showed you how inflation is secretly stealing your purchasing power every single month, leave a comment below telling us where you are from and what you think about real inflation versus official numbers. What's your strategy to protect yourself? Share this with everyone who wonders why they feel poorer despite making more money. And hit subscribe so you see the next economic warning before your purchasing power drops another 20%. Because inflation isn't slowing down, it's accelerating. And most people won't realize until it's too late.